Hey traders, hope everybody is doing well. Do you guys think gold is going to continue its move up? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you guys would like forecasts on any other market of your choice, join us on Sunday for the members only live stream forecast. Alright, starting things off with the call report for the US dollar. The past week the banks got rid of 1,000 longs and they also got rid of 1.7 thousand shorts. Reminder on the DXY here, we are reacting off of weekly demand. This weekly demand is tested. I mentioned this last week. I said we are basically double bottoming here, but this is a weekly demand zone. So I am expecting the US dollar to struggle to break below like 99.5. So I am expecting the dollar to continue down, maybe to definitely maybe below a $99. In the long run, but it doesn't mean it's just gonna go straight down. I think we will actually struggle on the way down, but I am long-term bearish, maybe medium to long-term bearish, the DXY. Looking at the daily chart here, we also talked about this last week in last week's forecast. We have a daily supply zone, from back here, and we reacted off of it again for basically the second time. We are pushing down, so it is looking weak. I am expecting maybe within this next week for the dollar to push down to 100.68. So that is basically the move I would expect looking at the daily chart of the DXY. Obviously anything's possible and we do start to do that, but in order to know if that's going to take place or not, we are going to have to see what takes place on the lower time frames. If we go to a 4-hour chart here, we're just basically doing a top-down approach. We had this upward trend line here on the 4-hour chart, and that trend line was actually removed right here by breaking below it, and it left us with this supply. So now we have broken the 4-hour uptrend, which is definitely showing weakness in the DXY. If we do push up to this 4-hour supply at 101.85, we definitely could see a move maybe coming off of that 4-hour supply zone. And on the 1-hour chart, we do not quite have a 1-hour downtrend just yet. Once we break this low down here like that, then we will have the ability to draw the downward 1-hour trend line. And at that point, I think it's safe to say, hey, I think that the DXY is headed much lower down to $100.68, 100.68 like I was talking about on the daily chart. So as far as this week goes, I am expecting downward pressure in the DXY, but it doesn't mean that we won't see a few upward days as well. Looking at EURUSD forecast, the past week the banks added 3.3 thousand longs and they also got rid of 773 short positions. Reminder, guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, please hit that like button, it would be much appreciated. Looking at the weekly chart of the Euro-US dollar here, momentum is certainly up and there is profit margin to the upside. This is something that I was talking about in last week's forecast as well. Remember, on the daily chart, we do have a very strong and very consistent daily uptrend. This is a very healthy looking uptrend. And what I mean by healthy is that, there's clear peaks, clear valleys, clear high highs, right? And it's not just a straight up like momentum like that. It has, it's straight up, but then it pulls back. It's straight up and then pulls back. And we've had these, healthy pullbacks. So this is what I would like to call a very healthy daily uptrend, which means we should, in theory, be trading with this daily uptrend, especially if you are in day trading timeframes. One thing here, if we look at the 4-hour chart here, we are struggling, and what I mean by that is we had this supply zone here, we pierced above it, we finally broke above it, we didn't really have any quality demand on here to look to buy, and that's why I think price continued to push down, but we are struggling to really break above here. That does not mean we want to short, but it means that we want to be trading with caution. And what I mean by that is if you come to a 1-hour chart here, this is what I would be paying attention to, especially if you guys are day traders. So if you're a day trader, pay attention. So like we said, the daily momentum and trend is up. The weekly momentum is up. So that means our bias needs to be to the long side. And if you are a day trader, that's definitely something to consider. Now on the 1-hour chart, we broke momentum. We had pretty decent momentum. We broke it. We had supply zones being formed here and we pushed down. Now, as far as going in long goes, if you're a day trader, this is what I would need to see take place. I would need to see this supply removed in order to get in long. I would also prefer to see this high removed as well, but it's not really necessary because if we do remove this supply, it'll prove to us that the institutions that, in my opinion, sold there are breaking their own supply zone. So if that happens and we are left with new 1-hour demand, this is the 1-hour demand zone that you could use to potentially trade in long. And that's obviously this has not taken place yet. This is just what I'm showing you guys is probably the highest odds thing to do to wait for longs. Now, if you're a bearish to the euro, this supply zone is definitely decent. You could look for 5-minute confirmation shorts coming off of that 1 hour supply, but it's got to be on day trading timeframes only. So you could look for shorts in here, and like let's say maybe you get a quick little short scalp, you're out, and then price starts to push up and break above it. Then at that point you could switch to a long bias. So as far as the euro goes, I would be watching this 1 hour supply zone and see what takes place. Now also, if we do get a bigger move down and we have a 1 hour downtrend, then at that point I think we could be day trading short as well, but that might be for another forecast. All right, we are on to the forecast for gold. The past week, the banks added 9.2 thousand longs and they got rid of 1,000 shorts. Now, looking at the weekly chart here of gold, on the futures, we actually did make an all-time high on gold, but on spot Forex, we have not quite done that yet, but that's okay. Looking at the weekly chart here, we definitely could expect a pullback down to 1870. I've been saying this for a while. There's really not a whole lot of evidence that that's taking place yet, but all I'm saying is as a bigger perspective here, in order for price to, really start to take off on gold like that, who knows? The big players in the market might need to push price lower to kind of fuel up for a bigger, move up. And if you just think about it like, you're going on a road trip with your car or whatever, you might need to, take a little bit of a detour to a gas station to fuel up. I know that might not be the best example, but that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. So we definitely could see a move up, but who knows? This could be the basing and the fueling up for the move up here. So definitely a couple options could be playing out here on gold. If you look at a daily chart here, this is very important stuff here, guys. So we had this daily demand zone here. I had this zone for a while. We reacted off of it nice. It was looking like we were going to push up, but then all of a sudden, boom, we reacted off of this supply zone on the daily chart. We came back in, tested once, twice, and had a whole bunch of wicks into the zone, finally pushed up, but again, we are being hit by this daily supply zone. And if you look now, huge red day on Friday, and we are pushing back down. And to me, it looks like we could be pushing down to this daily demand. And here is why I think that's going to take place. Well, first of all, on the 1 hour chart, you can clearly see we have this 1 hour demand zone here. And this is actually a 1 hour demand zone I pointed out for the members in the Diamond Member Daily Forecast. And we actually had a nice reaction off of it, couldn't quite break the high, and now we are left with 1 hour supply. So on the 1 hour chart, we are starting to see momentum turn around. And even on the 4 hour chart, we had a very, very significant 4 hour demand zone be removed. Why is this 4 hour demand zone significant? Because it removed this supply zone, and in my opinion, it removed this entire range. And we actually broke through it with no problem. So who knows, we could see gold actually push up to this 4 hour supply and then roll over back down. And somebody was saying, should we be looking for confirmation inside of that daily area of demand? And here's why I don't think we should. Because it's been tested multiple times. If you look, we have already gotten confirmation off of this 1 hour demand several times now. We got confirmation here that would have worked out. This one would have been a loss, or actually no, you would have been maybe filled here, but we had a very nice confirmation trade here. And look at the reaction off of these confirmation zones here. Look at this one at the very bottom here. 1, 2, almost 3, 4, and almost 5, 6, 7, really, if you think about it. We had a huge push up. So the confirmation in this daily demand has already taken place. It's definitely possible we do push up again, but like I showed you guys here, the confirmation trades has already taken place. And if you don't know what confirmation trading is, and if you want to learn more about confirmation to get on trades like this and learn to spot these types of confirmation, join us in the Sunday meeting for the Diamond members, where we will be discussing for an hour or longer about confirmation and how we can find confirmation trades just like these trades that I pointed out. So it's going to be a fantastic meeting. Like I said, join it if you are a very serious trader and you want to actually learn, and you're not just asking for somebody to hold your hand, and you actually want to learn and you are serious. I highly recommend checking out the Diamond membership. I only want serious traders only who are willing to learn. So if that is you, if you are a serious trader, join us Sunday, join the Diamond membership. I'd be happy to see you guys join the team if you are serious, and I'd love to work with you. All right, so to finish up here on gold, I really don't know what to be doing here in gold. I think, in my opinion, what I'm going to be doing is waiting for this weekly demand to be hit for swing trades, or just waiting for the bigger push up and waiting for new, fresh daily or 4-hour demand zones to be formed. I think we could see gold push down lower, and that is why I think I'm going to be holding off for now. But I mean, like I said, we do have 4-hour supply zones and demand zones. You definitely could catch little scalp trades off of these little supply and demand zones, but for me, I'm personally looking for that bigger swing type move, and that is why I'm waiting for lower prices. Forecast for the USDJPY. The past week, the banks added 13,000 longs, and they also added 14,000 shorts. Starting with the weekly chart here, remember we are basically right in the middle between supply and demand, so it's really not the best time to be trading USDJPY as far as a top-down approach goes. It doesn't mean you can't really get like day trading setups on here, so we could definitely look for something, but just wanted to point that out first. Even on the daily chart here, we are again reacting off of this daily supply. Could not break this high to make a daily uptrend, so just going sideways. Really not the best time to be trading USD Japanese yen, which is very unfortunate because I definitely enjoy trading this pair. It was one of my favorite pairs to trade before, but since we've been going sideways, it's really not the time to be trading, like I said. So we do have a 1-hour downtrend, but first, looking at the 4-hour chart, we are inside of some 4-hour demand. Now, what I don't like about this 4-hour demand is it's right around the trend line, and I think we could actually see it spike through. But nonetheless, we are reacting to the upside. So if you want to get in long, I think you know demand is in control. I think you definitely could look for longs and targets up to 137.326 at this 4-hour supply. So like I said, there's no real daily trend, and we are kind of in the middle between supply and demand on the weekly chart, so it's really not the highest odds thing to be trading. But like I said, you could be looking for potential little scalp trades, and that's why these little zones are decent, right? Where we have a 4-hour supply zone here, 4-hour demand zone here. You could be just looking for scalp day trades, confirmations coming off of these 4-hour areas of demand and supply. Now on the 1-hour chart, this is definitely interesting as well. We have momentum to the downside here, and we have 3 decent little 1-hour supply zones. So if you're like a day trader, 1-minute chart, 5-minute chart, you could, maybe these 1-hour supply zones could interest you, right? So if you're a bearish to USD Japanese yen, we have 1-hour supply here, here, and here. So you could definitely look for supply or trades on lower time frames coming off of any one of these supply zones. And this supply is located at 135.32. This one's located at 136.40, and this one at the extreme is located at 137.28. I really like that one. So as far as the USD yen goes for other types of trading, I really don't see anything else because like I said, there's no daily trend. We're in the middle between supply and demand, so I would be more focused on day trading on the lower time frames. All right, on to the GBPUSD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 744 longs, and they also added 4,000 shorts. Looking at the weekly chart here, we have clear profit margin up to weekly supply. Also, we are about to contact this downward weekly trend line. This trend line is definitely questionable because it was looking pretty clean here, but we had just as an overextension on the weekly chart that I'm really not sure if this trend line is valid, but it's definitely something to consider. I do not trade trend lines, but it's definitely something I'm watching where, you know, we could see something like this or even a spike, a quick spike up to kind of trap the traders who are trying to short the trend line. So just wanted to point that out on the weekly chart first as we go over the GBPUSD. On to the daily chart next. Nothing but strength here on the pound. We have a daily uptrend, supply zones being removed. Not only that, we have new daily demand down here that has just been formed. It's not the best daily demand, but hey, if we do push down to this is daily time frame is a pretty high time frame. So if we do push down to that, that would be your daily time frame, your higher time frame where you could look for longs on lower time frames. So keep that in mind as well. Daily uptrend, weekly momentum is up. I am definitely bullish the GBPUSD. If you go over to the 4-hour chart here, we have a very strong 4-hour uptrend. Unfortunately, the demand zones we were interested in as a group, they actually ended up breaking through with just whippy price action, but that's just the reality of trading, guys. Sometimes that takes place. Now, we are currently contacting this 4-hour supply that, you know, I've had this supply zone drawn for ages now. And I think we definitely, like I said, we are reacting off that supply already. So I'm expecting this to break, but who knows, maybe this supply is what fuels price to push down lower to 1.25 to this 4-hour demand, where we could then look for a long off of that using confirmation. Now, let's say we don't get the push up to that and we actually end up breaking this 4-hour supply. Well, if that happens, we'd be left with 4-hour demand here, and we can look for longs inside that 4-hour demand. So at the end of the day, on the GBPUSD, all signs are pointing really to the upside, and even if you look at the 1-hour chart here, We have some 1 hour demand zones being respected. That's the power of supply and demand, guys. It's truly unbelievable. And yes, you will get losers like that and like this. But I mean, if you just look at the risk to reward here, the winners always make up for the losers when you're trading supply and demand. That is the power of it, guys. So on the 1 hour chart here, we do have 1 hour demand at 1.258. We could see maybe a small move off that. Not really anything I would put my money on. But at the end of the day, guys, we have weekly momentum up. Daily uptrend. So sorry, we have a weekly momentum is up, daily uptrend, 4 hour uptrend with some decent little 4 hour demand zones along the way up. I think it's buys all the way here on the GBPUSD as long as we have a daily and 4 hour uptrend. On to the USDCAD forecast. The past week, the banks added 9.9 thousand longs and they also added 3.6 thousand shorts. Looking at the weekly chart here, I've been waiting very patiently, and remember, guys, I've had rude comments on my YouTube channel saying, "Oh, you're too patient. Oh, do you ever even take a trade?" And remember, guys, patience pays. So that's why I'm being patient, and I'm still waiting for this weekly demand to be hit. I think it's a very high odds chance that we do see a move off of it. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see. So that is where I am expecting price to go in the medium to long term here on the USDCAD. Looking at the daily chart here, I thought we were going to push up to this purple supply zone up here, and that was a zone I was pretty interested in potentially shorting. But we had daily demand formed here. We've pushed up, couldn't quite break it, and now we are pushing down for a second test of this daily demand. Now, it's definitely possible we do kind of just range in between here like this. So if we still push up to this daily supply, I am very interested in that daily supply still. But who knows? Maybe this is the peak here of the downward trend line when we break this. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely looking weak. I would definitely be careful trading short the USDCAD once we start to get down to this daily demand again. So it might be kind of the best idea to maybe hold off. If we look at some of the lower time frames here, I know the 4 hour chart isn't really a super low time frame, but we do have a 4 hour supply zone located at 1.349. If we do push up to this 4 hour supply, we definitely could see some sort of move off of that supply zone. Maybe could be an area where you look for maybe a 15-minute day trade off of that 4 hour supply. So I am looking for price to go to 1.317 on the weekly demand. Whether it gets there this week, I highly doubt it. That would be a very large red candle, but we're going to have to wait and see. In the meantime, we do have pretty strong momentum to the downside, so you could be shorting, but like I said, be cautious because once we hit this daily demand at 1.333, we definitely could see a move up. So I'd be trading with caution here on the USDCAD. All right, now we are on to the Aussie US dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 1.9 thousand longs and they also added 3.6 thousand shorts. Looking at the weekly chart here, yes, the momentum is certainly down overall. We did get that push up, but we have fresh weekly and monthly demand down below. So I am still waiting patiently for that to be hit, and I think that's a high odds buying opportunity. I think, yes, you could be getting trades in this area to the long side, but for me personally, I am looking for more long-term positions. Like, I would love to wait for this to be hit, get in on a long on very low time frames, and hold all the way to here. Not my whole position, that would be basically impossible mentally, but just so I can hold for and take profits along the way and try to get these big moves. So I like to wait for these higher time frame demand zones to become in play before I just hop on long. And that's kind of more of a swing trading approach. Not only that, if you look at the daily chart here, in my opinion, we are kind of just ranging here, and we have daily demand down here. I think if we do contact this demand, I think we will be going up. So I'm still just waiting patiently here on the Aussie dollar. If you guys are new to my channel, I am pretty much only a swing / position trader, but that doesn't mean I can't find day trading setups for you guys as well. So let's take a look. If you look at a 4 hour chart here, like I said, there are plenty of opportunities. Even though I am waiting, it still doesn't mean you can't get in long. We had plenty of opportunities. This is one setup I think I pointed out to the diamond members here where we pushed up from that zone. So we had a very nice move off that zone. And we have new 4 hour demand here. This one's tested, so I would probably ignore that one, and we have fresh demand down here. So any one of these 4 hour demand zones really could be used for scalping on day trading timeframes. If it's a 1 minute, 5 minute chart, I think you could be using these 4 hour demand zones for that purpose, using confirmation. So if any of these demand zones get hit, technically, yeah, you could look for confirmation coming off of them. As far as shorting goes, I don't really like shorting just yet. If we can get a 4 hour downtrend like that, then I think shorting on the day trading timeframes will make sense. But until then, we need to kind of trade with caution here on the Aussie US dollar. I really don't like any of these demand zones for swing trading purposes, because there's a huge difference between me just buying this whole demand zones with an entry here with a stop and take profit above versus waiting for this demand zone to be hit and then going down to lower time frames and getting like a 2-to-1 like that. Because although yes, I think if this zone is hit, we could see maybe like a move up to here and then we roll over. Well, the thing is, if I had an entry here, stop loss here, and my take profit all the way up here, well, this move from this zone to this high here is not a large enough risk to reward for me, which is why when you go down to lower time frames, your entry might look something like this on a lower time frame, where it's like entry here, stop loss here, and your take profit is all the way up here, and that's a huge risk to reward. So that's why I'm saying, guys, these zones that I point out, they're not really a lot of the times meant to just be taken like that. It's meant for, hey, go down to lower time frames and refine your entry. So hopefully that makes sense on the Aussie US dollar. And remember, if none of it makes sense, guys, comment down below. Any question, I will respond to every single one. USDCHF, the past week the banks added 1,000 longs and they also added 1.6 thousand shorts. The weekly chart here, my larger time frame on this chart layout, there's really not a lot going on. Momentum is certainly down, that is for sure, but we are about to contact some sort of higher time frame demand. Now on the daily chart here, I've actually wicked right into a daily area of supply. I was hoping we can get a move up to this supply. This daily supply, although yeah, we're already seeing a move off of it. Whether it holds down to push down to like 0.88 or not, that's certainly up for debate. It's definitely not the highest quality zone. There's really only one candle move away. There's a lot of trading at this area. I think this zone is much higher odds. So this move we are seeing to the downside here with this wick, it could definitely be temporary. It doesn't mean we can't look for trades off of that supply zone. And if you look here, guys, if you come to the 4-hour chart first, we are actually reacting off this 4-hour supply that's located inside of that daily supply zone. And that's kind of why we're pushing down right now. We actually have fresh 4-hour demand down below. This, in my opinion, if you are short from that daily supply, this would be an area I would look for. I would look to take profits in, because we definitely could see maybe a move off this demand like this and then push up to this 4-hour supply that's located at 0.90, where I think we could see definitely a move off of that. So as far as trading it goes now, I mean, we could be looking for shorts because we are coming off that daily supply. And if you look here, we did kind of get confirmation. Unfortunately, this supply zone confirmation is very, very poor quality. So I would definitely trade with caution at that 1-hour supply zone based on what I'm saying, with the zones not looking that great. But that is essentially that 1-hour confirmation. But like I said, guys, reminder on this daily chart here, it's pretty overextended, pretty weak supply zone, and I think maybe we could actually see a larger move up and something like that in the long term. So trade with caution here on the USD Swiss, whether you're going in long or short. And remember, always use confirmation if you are not confident in the zone that you are trading in. Alright guys, last one of the weekly Forex Forecast. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and if you guys want to follow with me on a more personal basis every single day with the daily market breakdowns, like I said earlier, join the Diamond membership. That's where I do my daily market breakdowns, and it's more of an inside look at trading with me. So looking at oil here, last but not least, we actually had a very large move down in oil. We reacted off this weekly demand that we've seen it react off of once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times now. So it is weak. We do have profit margin to the upside. I am very bullish on oil. Unfortunately, I did take some losses here in oil. The Diamond members could attest to that, and that's why they have the behind the scenes access to all that. I won't be talking about it too much in here, but I was very interested in this daily demand zone right here. We reacted a little bit out of it. I did get one profitable trade out of this demand zone with the move up to here, but obviously we rolled back over. We actually wicked through this demand zone, but I am not calling this demand zone removed. I'm not going to get into it too much, but in my opinion, this demand zone is still holding. So I'm basically still looking for confirmation in this demand, and we have clear profit margin at least to $75 a barrel. Now, as far as confirmation goes, what I'm going to be potentially looking for, there's really two options. We could be waiting for this 4-hour supply and this downward trend line to be removed. That would be my confirmation, which is what I feel more comfortable looking in. And then also as well, we do have some 1 hour supply zones kind of still holding here. We kind of wicked through it, but at the end of the day, we do have some demand zones down here where that is basically your like 1 hour confirmation. So I'd be interested in getting in long on oil. I just need to wait for those pullbacks down to either 1 hour or 4 hour demand if we can get it formed. So very bullish on oil. We are in daily demand, I think, and we are also in macro demand as well. So I think we could definitely see a larger move to $88 a barrel. That is why I'm trying to get an entry on a 1 hour or a 4 hour chart so that I can hold all the way up to this weekly supply. I hope you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If it did, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you are new to the channel. And as always, check out the YouTube and Patreon membership if you want to get my daily chart analysis and much, much more.